Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to show you how to make a walking and running mechanic. So using the gamepad, if I slightly hold the analog stick to the left, you'll see he goes into a walking state. And then if I push it hard to the left, he goes into a run. If I let go, he stops, and I can go back the other way exactly the same. So let's take a look at my layout. The first thing I have on the screen here is a sprite, which is my player character. If I double click the sprite, I've got an idle animation, which is just one frame of him standing still. I have a walk animation, which is 2 frames, and that's set to loop at a speed of 3. And I have a run animation, which is the exact same animation, and that's set to loop on a speed of 10. This guy is standing on the ground, which is basically just a tile background with the solid behavior, and obviously my sprite has the platform behavior as well. If I go to the event sheet, this is all it takes to make that work. You're going to need to obviously add the gamepad first, and the first event you're going to set up is moving left, and you're going to need to create a event block with 2 conditions. You're going to have a condition that checks the X axes. When you go to gamepad, you can compare the axes. Gamepad 0 basically means it's the first gamepad in the game, so it's effectively player 1. We're checking the left analog stick because that's moving left and right, and we're going to check to see if the range of that analog stick is greater than -80. Now the range of the axes will go from -100, which is all the way to the left, so hard push to the left, all the way to +100 or just 100, which is a hard push all the way to the right. So -80 is about 80%, up to 80% pushing to the left. Now you can change that depending on how sensitive you want your controls to be, but mine's set at -80. Feel free to play around with that. And I've set my other condition to -5. So effectively what that means is if we're pushing the left analog stick to the left and it's more than 5% pushed, to allow for some kind of a buffer just in case the control pads are sensitive or your thumbs are a little bit shaky, I don't know. But if it's more than 5% pushed to the left but less than 80%, then we're going to go into a walk. And I've set a variable at the top here called walk speed, and that's set to 30. And I'm going to set the maximum speed of the player if we are pushing between 5 and 80% to walk speed. I'm also going to simulate the player to move left, and I'm going to set the animation to walk. Now if we're pushing to the left and it's more than 80%, so if we've got less than, remember we're in the negatives here, if it's less than 80%, so if it's between 80% or 81% and 100, then we're going to set the animation to run. We're going to set the max speed of the player to run speed, and I've set that variable up here at 100. To set a global variable, you can right click and add a global variable, and then you can set that as a number and set the initial value to whatever you like, name it whatever you like. Mine's run speed, and then we're going to simulate left. And that's all you need to make the player move left. And to move right, you just need to duplicate that and just change the minuses and the less thans, more thans to the opposite way. Set everything else the same except for simulate control to the right, and then you need one more down the bottom to stop him if you're not touching the control. So if the x-axis is 0, which means that we're not touching left or right, then you're going to set the animation to idle and the platform speed to 0. If you're enjoying the tutorials and you want to see more, then please feel free to support the channel and maybe check out the Patreon. And speaking of Patreons, a massive thank you and a shout out to Fuzil CC, Olivia Bernier, Amari Lewis, Enmark Games, Tor Hammock Alexanderson, Martin K, 8-Bit Gamer, Davey Wagnerok, John Allegrezza, Dan, Focus Hero, Matt Nixon, Mike Joe, and FHD. Thank you for supporting the game dev journey, and for more information about what's on offer on the Patreon, there's a link in the description.